Hello guys, so Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM episode 1012, and as this week's my birthday week, I decided to react to instead of reacting to these two playoffs, which you get that next say June 27th and 28th, we decided to react to something very special, okay? Very OddGamer in Sonic Generations with Zero Night. But that is beginning 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you.
Wow, okay. Very OddGamer Sonic Generations featuring a title card designed by Joey Animations. Okay, makes sense. Continue on. Special guest reviewer 09. Okay, makes sense. Continue on. Wow.
Hello, internet viewers. I'm the Fairly OddGamer. It's June 23rd, and usually I review a game based on a certain hedgehog. Well, you know what? I'm doing it again. I say we bring him out right now.
Wow! Whoa! Okay. Continue.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, hi, Sonic. Long time no see.
Yeah, a whole year feels like 10 years to me.
Wow, okay.
See. Anyway, since you're 34 now, I'm going to talk about a game that came out on your 25th.
Hang on. Splash all over me. Oh. Okay. Hang on, be right back. Bad folks, sorry about that. I have to get this water all over me, so, and I'm just going over my ball. So let's just continue on.
That game being Sonic Generations.
Wow.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, I hear it too. Why, certainly it has to be.
Well.
Wow.
What do we have here?
Seth? What are you doing here?
Wow.
Dude, I'm a big Sonic fan as well. Did you really think you would let me celebrate his 34th anniversary without me?
Fair enough.
Wow. Usually we've had this songify, but oh well, we try. Continue on.
Wait, before we begin, there's something I need to admit to you guys. Even though I'm a longtime Sonic fan, I didn't get this game back when it was new.
Wait, really? Why not?
Well, simply because I didn't have any console that the game was first released on.
Wow. Well, you know, Lucas, Seth, and of course Sonic. There's some things that I want to mention as well, okay? In 2014, I played the very first Sonic the Hedgehog game. And to be fair, it was too hard for me to play, and it lets me say game over multiple times. I'll show you a clip about that, but to be honest with you, it was very rare to find, you know. It was it was in 2014 that I started playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and to be honest, I don't know how to play that game. So here it is. It's 48 minutes long. I'm not gonna play the whole game, but the tab. So here we go. So the quality is it's just terrible. So here it is. I'm not trying to play Alice Kid for some reason. So I got a Sega Genesis console for some reason. So I try to play Sonic Hedgehog 3. So okay. This is what I'm talking about here. I mean, I uploaded this 4 years ago on YouTube for some reason. Wow, that was just low quality there. Not playing it too hard, but this is not how you play Sonic, unfortunately. But that's the hardest level I ever played. But that's the first time I ever played that, you know. But yeah, that was 2014. But anyway, when I'm playing on a console, okay, move on. No, it's not. Let me do it. There it is. Okay, there we go. Reveal that one. And it just started out with two things. And it's just like, I don't know how to play that game, like, honestly, you know. I suck at Sonic Hedgehog, to be honest with you. I don't know, it's like, he's like, hold still. What are you waiting for? Go, you know? That's what I was trying to tell Sonic, and then it's like... So I skip that point, and just like, that point forward. I'm trying to let... yeah, that's hard, to be honest with you. I'm trying to quit range, and it's just not letting me, you know... I gotta get practice in this game, so there you go. I gotta be careful with the spikes, so it's just too much, you know. Come on. It took me 1 minute and 17 seconds of this, but to be honest, it's difficulties. Yeah, that's what I've been doing trying to do this game. And it's too hard, you know? Yeah, but we'll put, it's kind of, it's difficulties. Let's continue on before I get sober.
When Sonic Generations released on November 1st, 2011 for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation
Yeah, due to my struggle years, continue on.
3, I never owned any of those consoles. Not only that, but I also didn't have a compatible PC for the PC version.
Wait. Don't own a what now?
Any of those consoles. 11.
I had a PS3. You're missing out. And for Xbox Series 360, I never had this yet. I had some games, never the 360 yet, but come on, dude. But for 3DS, I had the 2DS, never the 3DS yet. Continue on.
Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, I never owned any of those consoles. Not only that, but I also didn't have a compatible PC for the PC version that came out 3 days later. I also completely forgot about the 3DS version. So as a result, I missed out.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
When I first heard that the game was only going to release on those 3 specific systems, I pretty much begged my parents to get me any of the systems that Sonic Generations would be released on. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PC, I didn't care. I just...
Exactly,
wanted to play the newest entry in the Sonic the Hedgehog series.
Yeah.
So here's a funny story. During Christmas in 2011, my aunt got me the PlayStation 3 version, while my mom got me the Xbox 360 version.
Yeah, okay. Seems fair, Seth. Continue on.
The console my family ultimately ended up getting was the Xbox 360, though I also did eventually get a PlayStation 3 in late 2016.
Yeah, one of the worst years of my life. I'm sorry, but to be honest with you, Seth, I hate 2016 with a passion. Not just losing my good friend Marsha Brown, but also seeing I dropped out of college because I was homesick. Continue on.
In fact, this was the very first video game that I ever got every single achievement for. I've had them all since 2012. For the longest time, Sonic Generations was my favorite Sonic game of all time.
Okay.
However, it was recently overtaken by another game that we may talk about another time.
I did eventually get an Xbox 360 in December 2017,
which is a good thing. Yeah, good idea. I never had a 360 yet. So I had a PS3 until 2012 due to my brain malfunctions. Continue on.
Generations a month later.
Wow.
However, despite owning the game nowadays, I haven't gone back to this game since I first played it.
Oh, you have Sonic Adventures. Okay, that's good. Continue on.
being said, let's talk about Sonic Generations for the Xbox 360, or more accurately, the remastered version on Xbox One, Sonic X-Shadow Generations. Though ironically, the physical copy of the game that I own is for the Switch.
Oh, okay. If they have a Switch 2, by the way, I do not have a Switch 2 yet. Even though I don't have it yet, but it will come to me on my 30th birthday. So I'm looking forward to this, but it's gonna get prepared with. Continue on.
Originally got autographed by Knuckles' current voice actor, Davey Mitchell. But does it
Well, that was exciting.
still hold up? Let's find out.
Upon starting the game, you are greeted with a title screen that shows both classic and modern Sonic doing their iconic poses in the style of a classic Sonic title screen. In the original release, you only had one save file, but thankfully in the remastered version, you are given 3 separate save files. Anyway, after that, you immediately start off in Green Hill Zone, the very first stage of the entire franchise.
Wow.
I remember the first time I saw this stage in the game, I was blown away. The original Sonic the Hedgehog was the very first Sonic game I've ever played, so
Well, I told you the audience about this. It was too hard for me to play. Sorry. Continue on.
naturally have a lot of nostalgia for it. So you can imagine how happy I was to see Green Hill Zone so beautifully recreated with high-definition graphics.
And get this, you actually start off as classic Sonic in 3D.
Or more accurate.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I never played the 3D version, so I missed out on it. Continue on.
2.5D.
Personally, it looks much better than the last time that version was seen in a 3D game.
I mean, that's also not a fair comparison since that last time was on a Sega Saturn. But that's
Yeah. Sega Saturn. Why? If you watch remix, reviewing the Sega Saturn version of the games, that was terrifying. Continue on.
does look really good in 3D. Though personally, I prefer the design he had in Sonic the Fighter since he had a more aggressive look in that game.
Yeah.
I also prefer the darker shade of blue that he had starting with Sonic 2. In this game, he instead has a lighter shade of blue, much like how he did in Sonic 1.
I think that's what the developers were going for, but I can see where you're coming from. But yeah, classic Sonic controls about the same as he did in Sonic 1, with the addition of the spin dash from Sonic 2 and onwards.
Yeah.
And not quite. While classic Sonic does control well, he doesn't control exactly how he did in the Genesis games. In fact, the spin dash is not only easier to perform in this game, but it's also way more powerful than it ever has been in 2D. He also doesn't have quite the same momentum either. For example, rolling down slopes doesn't really help with getting speed, unlike the old...
Wait, did you say roly poly or something else? I don't know. Let's continue on.
He also doesn't have quite the same momentum either. For example, rolling down slopes doesn't really help with getting speed, unlike the older games. This would thankfully be corrected starting with Sonic Mania, but that's for another time.
It's also worth mentioning that classic Sonic also doesn't have the instant shield from Sonic 3, nor the super peel-off from Sonic CD. Though personally, I don't mind their omissions. After completing the stage the same way as the Genesis games, they then rank based on how fast you beat the stage and how many rings you've collected. However, in order to get the S rank, you have to beat the stage without dying. Classic Sonic feels a small rumble only to have it come from this dark entity with gears. 20 years later.
Surprise!
Wow.
Aw, you guys.
It's Sonic's birthday, and all of his friends have gathered to celebrate this special occasion.
And if you're wondering where Shadow is, we don't find out that answer until 13 years later. Also, a quick difference. In the original release, Amy desperately tries to get close to Sonic, but is being held back by Sonic pushing her away. While in the remaster, she simply tries giving him 2 birthday cupcakes.
And that's not all. In the remastered version, not only was most of the script rewritten, but almost all the dialogue got completely redubbed by the current cast. As of now, the only characters that got recast are Tails, Knuckles, Espio, Blaze, and Silver. As someone who's reviewed a couple of remasters before, I thought...
If you go back to my reactions to the videos that he done for OddGamer, go check it out. Continue on.
kept the original dialogue as is. It's not that I don't like the redub dialogue. The big issue is that most, if not all, the dialogue doesn't match the mouth movements of the characters.
What makes that last bit confusing is that the developers were clearly capable of adding new animations or changing existing animations since it's clearly shown in the remaster. So why didn't they go the extra mile and fully reanimate all the cutscenes to better fit the new script?
Anyway, before Sonic can finish his birthday chili dog given to him by Tails, the dark entity from before suddenly shows up and crashes the party while also sucking up Sonic's friends into multiple time holes.
Wow. Wow. Spin out this thing. Oh my god, continue on.
Apparently, it sets up all the color. It's almost like we were taken back to the silent film era. Sonic then finds a familiar
Wait, just like in the silent films from 1920s. Continue on.
area, which is where he heads off to. This leads us to Act 2 of Green Hill Zone, where we now play as Modern Sonic.
Modern Sonic plays almost exactly how he did in Sonic Unleashed. He pretty much has all of the same moves from that game. So once again, you have a boost meter that can be filled up by collecting rings, and once you start boosting, Sonic will move much faster and blast through almost everything in his path. Now, I personally don't think he's quite as fast as he was in Sonic Unleashed, but he's still pretty fast. Definitely faster than he was in Sonic Colors, which reminds me, the level will occasionally switch between a 2D perspective and a 3D perspective, just like in Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Colors. Though, personally speaking, I really wish that Modern Sonic's levels were strictly 3D, since Classic Sonic's levels are strictly 2D. That said, I was still really happy to be playing a new 3D version of one of my favorite levels in Sonic history.
By the way, remember the rainbow rings from the previous Sonic games? They're still here, but this time they allow Sonic to perform tricks by moving the analog stick in different directions during the jump. That also goes with the rainbow ramps.
Tricks are something I think should be a permanent mainstay in Sonic games going forward, because like in Sonic Rush, it shows that Sonic isn't just about going fast. He's gotta look good doing it and show off his style. That said, however, I do still think Sonic Rush did the trick system better because that game allowed you to perform tricks off of any spring, ramp, or dash ring, while in this game, you can only perform tricks after hitting a rainbow ring or rainbow ramp. Anyway, what else is there? Oh, right, I completely forgot about the drop dash. New to the remaster is the drop dash, returning from Sonic Mania, but unfortunately, it's not very useful. I do occasionally enjoy performing it as Modern Sonic just to look at something different, but I barely used it at all as Classic Sonic.
Like Classic Sonic, Modern Sonic also completes the stage the same way he always completes the stage, this time via the goal ring. And similarly, you also rank the same way as before with Classic Sonic. With both acts of Green Hill Zone completed, it results in Sonic finally rescuing Tails. In the original version, he's once again voiced by Kate Higgins. I was lucky to meet her as well as her successor voice at a con 2 years ago.
Oh wow, even Mago Yorkax from the hog from Free Wires. Huntsville coming and Pop Culture Expo? Okay, let's continue on.
Thanks, Sonic. I thought I was dead, floating without a body in a black limbo. Ugh, I'm gonna have nightmares for weeks.
However, in the remaster, he's instead voiced by Tails' current voice, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who I actually got to meet earlier this year. She's really nice.
Oh wow, that was nice. Okay, let's continue on.
Thanks, Sonic.
Wait, what are you on?
Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who I actually got to meet earlier this year. She's...
Wait, are you in Moacon? Or something else, I don't know, let's continue on.
nice.
Thanks, Sonic. That was awful. I couldn't tell where I was or what had happened. Ugh, like I was trapped in a nightmare.
At least we get a few callbacks from previous games.
No stranger than rescuing genies in magic books or saving aliens in an interstellar amusement park.
Or that time when you turned into a werehog.
Or that time when you chased a princess over and over and over again.
It's like, you saved me, yay! Let's continue on.
That never happened, I think.
Oh, okay, makes sense, okay.
As Sonic ventures off to the next area, Tails encounters Sonic again, but in classic form.
Wow, you weren't kidding when you said soon. I thought you already left.
And he looks smaller than he was before.
Wow.
From this point onward, you can switch between Classic Sonic and Modern Sonic whenever you're in the main hub, allowing you to play each act in any order you like. That being said, let's move on to the next level of the game, Chemical Planet Zone from Sonic 2. I also want to mention that while most of the level design was borrowed from the games that the levels were originally from, most of the level design...
Hold on.
While most of the level design was borrowed from the games that the
Yeah, B-Spire. Continue on.
were originally from, most of the level design is different from the original source material. And hold on, the Red Star rings from Sonic Colors are back? How come
Yeah, it's like, I'm back! Continue on.
you can find any in Green Hill Zone?
Because for some odd reason, you can't get the red star rings in Green Hill Zone until you already finish the level for the first time. And yeah, I don't get it either.
After completing Act 2 of this stage, we get a cutscene of Sonic and Tails reminiscing about this particular zone. And rightfully so, because Sonic 2 was Tails' home console debut.
Unfortunately, though, this is one of the only times in the game where we see Sonic and friends reminisce about their past adventures.
Yeah.
I know I'm jumping the gun a bit here, but Sonic Generations probably has the most disappointing story in the entire series. There are so many opportunities for Sonic and friends to talk about their thoughts on their past adventures, but they don't really do that outside of 2 cutscenes in the entire game.
Ironically enough, Sonic Heroes have more moments of character reminiscences than this game.
This chemical plant feels familiar. I'd never forget a smell like this. And that pink water makes me really nervous for some reason.
You're telling me.
You're right, Tails. This place is giving me deja vu all over again.
Exactly. Like, how long is he gonna put it out? Continue on. Wait. Oh, go back one? Is that black smoke? Like, okay, continue on.
But anyway, beating both acts results in saving Amy. Thankfully not from a robot this time.
And in this game, Amy is voiced by Cindy Robinson.
You saved
Damn.
me, Sonic. I was afraid I'd never be able to flirt with you again.
Why does she always do this?
Thank you! Thank you! Okay, that seems more familiar, these toys, difference in, well, Sonic was Baseball. Well, okay, those are toys and these are games. Okay, let's move on. Next.
Okay, I'll admit, I didn't really care for her Amy voice at first, because, like a lot of people, I thought she sounded too much like Minnie Mouse. However,
Yeah, Minnie Mouse from Disney. I love Disney. Duh. Continue on.
starting in 2014, her Amy voice would thankfully sound more relaxed nowadays thanks to having better voice direction.
You saved me, Sonic. I'll be sure to return the favor next time around.
Okay.
On to the next level, Sky Sanctuary Zone from Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
This level is awesome, purely because of just how many different multiple pathways there are, and that applies to both acts. Classic Sonic's act is a decent platforming challenge, while modern Sonic's act is just one high-speed roller coaster ride. It's really awesome.
And like the previous stages, completing both acts has Sonic rescue another friend of his. In this case, it's Knuckles the Echidna, this time voiced by Travis Willingham, whom I actually met at a convention years ago.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm jealous. Continue on.
Sonic, you did a good job back there. Hey, did you gain weight?
What?
Okay, I'll admit that I laughed at that scene when I first saw it, mostly because I couldn't help but see it as an unintentional reference to Super Mario Bros. Z.
Yeah, that meme, okay.
Mostly because I couldn't help but see it as an unintentional reference to Super Mario.
Yeah, especially the YouTube videos I saw about the whole WTH, why am I so blocky, and I put on some weight too. Yeah, that was hilarious, because I was watching that on YouTube, and the whole co-op thing with the Mario Brothers, and Remix sent me a link, and he thought the whole, the bleep part was hilarious, and I thought I was laughing my ass off. It was so hilarious. Continue on.
See, that being said, the remaster of Sonic Generations instead has Knuckles voiced by Dave B. Mitchell, who I also got to meet earlier this year.
Is that a Momocan? Again? Let me see. Continue on.
At both of us.
Thanks, Sonic.
Hold on, what's that?
Mitchell, who I also got to meet earlier this year.
Make that both of us.
Okay, yeah, I was jealous, okay.
Thanks, Sonic. Now then, tell me, where is the rest of my island?
You ate the island?
Disgusting. Ugh.
Another example of why they should have added more new animations for the cutscenes. Anyway, once you finish all 3 zones of an era, you unlock some challenge missions as well as the rival battle for said era. In order to reach the boss for the era, you need to get 3 keys from the era by completing a challenge, with 1 key per zone. Now we probably won't talk about every challenge, but we'll definitely highlight some for sure.
For example, every zone has a challenge act that features one of Sonic's friends. In Green Hill Zone, we have a race against Knuckles.
By the way, I'm way faster than Sonic, but you knew that.
Also, Knuckles makes some hilarious sounds during this race.
There's also another Knuckles mission in Sky Sanctuary Zone. As modern Sonic, you have to summon Knuckles to dig through terrain to find at least 35 buried medals before reaching the end of the level. Also, each challenge mission has a timer that shows your rank. The faster you clear the mission, the higher your rank.
My favorite challenge mission in this era would have to be where you race against Tails in Green Hill Zone as modern Sonic, if only for the awesome remix of Super Sonic Racing that accompanies it.
There's also a minigame based on Casino Night Zone, also from Sonic 2. And believe it or not, this was actually a pre-order bonus from the original game. Thankfully, the remastered version includes it right from the get-go.
It's a pinball machine? Okay, we continue on.
A pinball minigame where you aim for a high score. Not much more to it than that. But before we get to the main boss, let's talk about the first rival boss of the game, Metal Sonic from Sonic CD.
Heavy metal style, okay. Yeah, I love Real 400 CD, but this, okay, continue on.
Having them race to the end while avoiding an instant death laser, it's a boss fight set in Stardust Speedway, also from Sonic CD. You have to avoid Metal Sonic's attacks while waiting for him to be stunned in order to attack him.
Or you can attack him while he's in the middle of charging an attack. This will make the fight go by that much faster.
And hey, beating a rival or boss earns you a Chaos Emerald. And speaking of which, let us venture away to the first boss fight of the game after unlocking the boss cave with the 3 keys we found via challenge stages.
Yeah, I was like, open the door up! Continue on.
Upon entering, the two Sonics encounter each other via mirror routine. They initially see each other as a reflection until they get interrupted by Eggman.
Yeah, duh.
Sonic takes off after presumably classic Eggman, but modern Sonic didn't realize that the reflection he saw is another Sonic. So he tries to chase after him, but alas, it's too little, too late. The door shuts on modern Sonic just before he's able to catch up. This leads us to the first main boss of the game, the Death Egg Robot from Sonic 2. While trying to avoid his attacks, classic Sonic can attack the Death Egg Robot on its backside. However, there's another portion of the boss fight in which you have to lower the robot's extending arm toward a bomb to disable it. That's your chance to attack it by dashing on its arm and jumping on its head to inflict damage to the Death Egg Robot. Oh, and unlike the original Genesis game, you actually collect rings in this boss stage. Eventually, with enough damage, the Death Egg Robot is finally defeated again. But even worse news for Eggman, he gets sucked up by the dark entity from before. Back in the colorless void, we once again see Sonic and Tails. Both of them.
I can't believe there's 2 of me.
I think I figured it out.
Yeah,
We got Blue's Clues. Next, continue on.
2. Doubles of us.
places and enemies from our past.
We're traveling through time and space.
Wow.
How did this happen?
You already know the answer to that question, Sonic. You encountered the thing responsible for it earlier. Anyway, this leads us into the Dreamcast era.
Or as I like to call it, the Drummond era. More on that later. Let's begin the era with the next level being Speed Highway for my favorite 3D Sonic game of all time, Sonic Adventure. So in this level...
Wait a minute, I've just noticed something. Why does Sonic look like how he did in the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure?
Funny...
Okay. Wow. Yeah, how was this? Yeah, good. Anyway, wow.
That Seth. The Adventure Sonic skin was actually a pre-order bonus for the remastered version of Sonic Generations.
Okay.
I'm more fitting that I'm actually playing through a Sonic Adventure level as Adventure Sonic. In fact, whenever Sonic finishes a trick combo, he strikes the exact same pose that he does in the box art from Sonic Adventure. On a related topic, there's also a Sonic Jam skin that you could use for Classic Sonic. And it's a thing, I guess. But anyway, Speed Highway is awesome, both in 1998 and nowadays.
Yeah, this level is really awesome. Classic Sonic's version is decent, but modern Sonic's version is where it truly shines. Not only do you run down the building like in the original level, but there's a lot of sharp turns where Sonic can drift. Because yes, like in Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Colors, Sonic can drift through some tight corners, although this time he instead curls into a ball when doing so. Personally speaking, I really...
Gameplay footage, Cortesia 09. Okay, let's continue on.
Animation of him sliding through a turn while simultaneously running because I thought it just looked cooler. But hey, it's still a lot of fun to drift through tight corners. This level also features the return of the Lightspeed Dash, but it's unfortunately way more limited than it was in Sonic Unleashed. In Sonic Unleashed, you could use it on most ring trails, but in Sonic Generations, you can only use it on highlighted ring trails. Definitely a downgrade compared to before.
After completing both acts, we then rescue Cream the Rabbit as well as Cheese, and the fourth...
It's like Riding Rabbit or... whatever this thing is, the drip drops.
Voiced by Michelle Rupp, another voice actor I got to meet.
Wow, hold on.
Jeez. And in the former's case, voiced by Michelle Rupp, another voice actor I got to meet.
Oh, wow. You were Corbin while we decided? Okay, I was jealous while you were at it. Okay, continue on.
She's personally my favorite voice for Cream, purely because of how adorable she sounds.
Thanks for saving me, Sonic. It was scary in the dark, but I tried to be brave.
And if you're wondering why Sonic reverted back to his high polygonal self, that's because the skins don't actually apply to the cutscenes. So, Lucas?
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes more sense anyway, so it can happen. Continue on.
Yes?
Can you please switch back to modern Sonic's normal self for the sake of consistency with the cutscenes?
Alright. I wish modern Sonic was back to normal.
That said, we now move on to the next level of the game, City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2. One neat detail I appreciate about this level is that classic Sonic rides a traditional skateboard for his version of the level, while modern Sonic uses a snowboard in his version of the level. And I absolutely love the trick animations for both Sonics. Once again, Sonic shows off just how cool he looks while still going fast. Admittedly, I used to enjoy skateboarding in real life as a kid, until I found out that my body is weak and I don't want to risk falling down and hurting myself.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. That is good. That is good stuff. Good job. Good job. Continue on.
That's why I stick to video games when it comes to enjoying skateboarding. But hey, that didn't stop me from getting this Sonic the Hedgehog themed skateboard.
Oh! Oh! Wow! Sorry, the belly button was in the way. Wow! Okay. It's good enough. Continue on.
By the way, Seth, a certain someone has joined us since you mentioned skateboarding.
Let me guess.
How's it going, dudes?
Yep, I should have known.
And from what I've heard, it's rumored that skateboarding is very similar to that of
Surfing, we get it. Sorry for interrupting you. Anyway, I'm actually curious to know about your thoughts on the Blue Blur.
Yeah, Hux. What do you think of me? Or rather, my games?
I mean, they're great and all, but clearly my fave has to be the Riders games. Not Free Riders, though. I can never get that Connect to work for me.
And I can see why.
Fair enough.
Okay. Good enough. Good enough, Hawks. Yeah, because you and I first met each other last year, because in MoCon, that would be great, because, you know, it can make more happening, so... when it comes to these Sonic games, more happens. So Sonic Riders, okay, I can deal with that. But Sonic Generations, yeah, but it can happen. But let's continue on.
Anyway, thanks for stopping by.
No problem. Speaking of which, I should get back to playing Sonic Riders right now. Later, dudes!
Okay, good enough.
During Act 1, the gun truck chases Sonic throughout the entire level, while in Act 2, the gun truck chases Sonic at the end of the level. But unlike in Sonic Adventure 2, the gun truck has a bunch of saw blades. That alone makes it more over the top than it was before. Oh, and before I forget, you can also find hidden shouts throughout each level, which are only added in the remastered version.
Okay.
After playing both acts, we then rescue Rouge the Bat, now voiced by Karen Strassman.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Thanks, Big Blue. That's the first time I've ever been stolen.
You're a real gem, Rouge.
This leads us...
Wow. Rim shot wins. Okay, makes sense. Continue on. Anyway.
Stolen.
You're a real gem, Rouge.
This leads us to the next level of the Dreamcast era, Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes, but that game never released for the Dreamcast.
And this is why I call it the Drummond era, because Sonic was voiced by Ryan Drummond in both Sonic Adventure games and Sonic Heroes.
Wait, who is he? Hang on.
Because Sonic was voiced by Ryan Drummond in both...
Ryan Drummond? Hold on. Search. He's a clown face? Hold on. Born in 1973, he's also an actor, comedian, singer. Wow. Well, he's voiced Sonic from 1998 until 2004. Wow. But he's married to Lisa Clements in 2002, to divorced in 2019. He does pop, he does musical theater, jazz, and opera. He's a member of the AYU, correct. Wow. But he's a clown? I did not know that. He was in the main also guest appearance on episode of Rosie O'Donnell Show in 1998 of December. Wow. Okay. But he's also in a teen Korean comedy film in 2000 called Bring It On as a fear boy. Okay, I don't know, but he's also in the movies called. He's also in the following. Okay, Twisted Metal 4 as a pizza boy in 1999, and so much more. He's also in the NASCAR. If you watch Alex Paris, NASCAR for you. NASCAR Racing 2002 season, Inspire, and so much more. Okay, man, this is a lot hard way to talk about, but. Hold up! SeaWorld San Diego? Okay. He was at... Okay. Speaking of SeaWorld, there's another loss in the SeaWorld area because not in California, but in San Diego, Texas. Sadly, a whale or a dolphin, I don't know, sadly passed away, you know? But yeah. Rest in peace that whale, or where it was at San Antonio, Texas, and SeaWorld. But anyway, moving on. Now, he's also just keyword distributing on commercials. No, it's from Wheel of Fortune? Okay, that I did not know, because I was a huge Wheel of Fortune game show fan. But anyway. And McDonald's and Dreamcast commercial and Sonic Hedgehog. Wow. He's also in ads like MasterCard, Pizza Hut, Chrysler, Jack in the Box, wow. So much more. In Fear, he was in I'll Review Your Perfect Now Change, and it's a man number one Broadway thing. Pinocchio off Broadway in 2001, and so much more. Oh, wait. Dr. Seuss' How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, I don't know, but okay, makes sense. I'm not a huge fan of Into the Woods, sorry, but anyway. But I used to, but nah, not my thing. Sorry. Okay, he has 3 albums throughout the time frame. Scram, SCRAM in 1994, Osby on Songs 1996, and okay, this is a good one. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Next. Oh, come on. There we go.
Sonic Adventure games and Sonic Heroes.
Anyway, Act 1 of Seaside Hill has a lot of underwater sections that coincidentally have callbacks to Hydro City Zone from Sonic 3, while Act 2 feels closer to the original level, though instead of riding a bobsled, Sonic rides a 3-wheeled cart for this section here. Not much else to say about this level other than it's another one I really enjoy. It's also worth mentioning that Act 2 features the return of the wall jump move from previous games, but it works completely differently here. In Sonic Unleashed, you can use it on most walls, while Sonic Colors allowed you to use it on any wall, well, in 2D anyway. However, the wall jump in Sonic Generations can only be used on specific highlighted walls, so it pretty much got downgraded about as much as the Lightspeed Dash. Anyway, after clearing both acts, we then see Sonic and Tails learning about as much as the Lightspeed Dash. Anyway, after clearing both acts, we then see Sonic and Tails learning more about the situation at hand.
And it's not good. When that thing goes through time, it tears space apart, leaving the areas empty and dead, and sticking them in this weird white limbo. When the Sonics accelerate through time, they fix space, returning color and life.
Wow. And I guess we have to run like there's no tomorrow, or there won't be a tomorrow.
Anyway, another one of Sonic's satellites gets rescued, this time being Espio the Chameleon, initially voiced in this game by Troy Baker, whom I also met. Yeah.
Wow. Hold on.
Espio the Chameleon, initially voiced in this game by Troy Baker, whom I also met.
Wow, that was good. Well, you dressed as OddGamer in the, outside the costume. That was a good one. Oh, I was at MomoCon. That was a good idea, so... And that one point. In 2022, since 2022, that was a good idea, so... There you go on that. Let's continue on.
Yeah, I did meet a lot of different voices. That's what happened.
Wait. Yes, I made Rogers, Greg Smith, yet saw his current voice actor, okay. continue on. Okay.
10 cons for 10 years.
Thank you, my friend. Beware, for I have looked into the soul of our enemy, and I saw only darkness.
Okay.
However, in the remaster, SBO is instead voiced by Matthew Mercer, or as I know him better as Crom from Fire Emblem Awakening.
And yet,
Oh, wow. Okay.
I got to meet him as well.
I didn't get a photo with Matthew McCurser, but he did sign my Expo plush. But there always next time, Lucas. Continue on.
Should we include a counter at this point for how many times we mentioned that we met a voice actor?
9? Yes, Seth. Yes, Seth. Anyway. Oh, wow. But yeah. Oh, man. I don't know how many times I had to meet. I'm not mean Sonic Hedgehog characters before. How many have I met? 0 for me. 0 for me. Unfortunately, I'm jealous. Sorry, but anyway, I met so much celebrities in my lifetime. Richard Horvitz for 1, Great Leslie Griffin for 2, Bob West, which I did not met online in person, but I met him online. Online. For 3, the late Jason Frame for 4, Jason Morrison for 5, Bill Farmer for 6, Steve Whitmire for 7. I don't know how many to count. Continue on.
Thank you, my friend. Beware, for I have experienced our foe's power, and it is pure evil.
So here we are again, new challenge missions plus a rival battle. That said, I want to highlight 2 of my favorite challenge missions in this era. For starters, there's the Overdrift mission in Speed Highway that's basically a time trial where you do a whole bunch of drifting.
Wow!
Secondly, there's this mission with Cream the Rabbit in City Escape. It's mostly a mission in which you only have a limited number of rings provided by Cream and some chow, but the main reason why I love this mission is the fact that not only does Cream fly right beside Sonic, but also because whenever Sonic does a trick on the snowboard, Cream will do a trick of her own. It's really...
Okay, I'll come right back. So, folks, sorry about that. I just have to do some personal things. And, of course, getting a little bit to eat and get some drinks. Anyway, let's continue where we left off, shall we? So we got for us. Come on. Here we go.
Horrible. I love it.
As for Seaside Hill...
Cream will do a trick of her own. It's really adorable. I love it.
Wow.
As for Seaside Hill, I only did 2 of them, both of which was classic Sonic. First, there's the Flicky mission, in which you have to free a certain amount of Flickies trapped inside capsules before reaching the goalpost. And the other mission involves Espio. You have to summon him while jumping to swing on targets via grappling hook. So in a way, it feels more like the real superpower of teamwork.
And now we come to the rival battle of this era, and this one needs no introduction. Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic Adventure 2. But also, why are we fighting Shadow? When Sonic first talks to him, Shadow immediately wants to destroy Sonic. Wait, what? Why? Shadow has no...
It's terrifying, no.
reason for wanting to fight Sonic in the first place. He just wants to fight Sonic and nothing more. Maybe if...
Exactly. Hold on. It's frightening, I know, it's terrifying. Scary creatures everywhere. Continue on.
Shadow from the same point in time as Sonic Adventure 2, it would make more sense. But it would later be revealed that this is the same Shadow from the current Sonic timeline, so this never really made sense to me. This would thankfully be rewritten in Shadow Generations, but that's for another time. Anyway, like in Sonic Adventure 2, it's a race aboard the Space Colony Ark.
Not only do I love this remix of For True Story, but I also love the fact that this boss fight literally opens up with an in-game recreation of the opening video for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Yeah, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which I saw in theaters earlier this year. In style, you know, back in January 2025, and I saw it in theaters, and I thought it was amazing, you know, despite the, it was a great movie, and despite Billy told me, what's a spoiler? I'm like, nope, no spoilers, Billy. And I gave this a great rating after when I saw it in January 2025. A great rating. So I don't want to say anything else in this movie. And December 2025, 4, however, Billy said to me, Billy said the remix was a spoiler. I'm like, I don't want to give out any spoilers until January 2025. And like, take notes, Billy, if you're watching this, but I did, however, give a full rating of this movie. So, go check out my review, my sneak peek previous review on Sonic Hedgehog 3, and you know what I'm talking about. Continue on.
Like that game, there's no health bar. In fact, Shadow collects rings during the fight no different than Sonic. He even has his own version of the boost. And I just want to say, the first time I...
Hang on. Bad folks, sorry about that. I had to get myself some water. It splashed all over me again, and just slip the water again. So let's continue on.
Shadow in action during this battle, I kept asking, why isn't Shadow a playable character? He clearly behaves like a playable character during this fight.
Yeah, like for example, I'll give you so many more chances. If you don't behave, I'll turn you to goo. I don't know, from the little bit my boo boo thing. I don't know. Let's continue on.
So why couldn't I play as him in the regular levels as a bonus unlockable? That really would have helped with the game's replayability. It's crazy that I had to wait until Sonic Forces of all games before I could play as Shadow with those exact same animations.
Well, duh!
The fight basically has you race against Shadow for these purple orbs for a power-up.
If Sonic collects 2 purple orbs, he'll then get a supercharged boost, allowing him to ram into these asteroids to attack Shadow and slow him down, while also hearing Live and Learn in the background. And when you eventually catch up to him, you can finally drain him of his rings and win the battle.
Okay.
But if Shadow collects
Okay, move on.
Finally drain him of his rings and win the battle.
But if Shadow collects 2 purple orbs, he'll throw a bunch of Chaos Spears at Sonic that you'll need to dodge using the Quick Step. Oh, and the best part? You get to hear All Hail Shadow play in the background whenever it happens. Oh, and here's a funny coincidence. Once you defeat Shadow, you are then awarded...
that damn 4th Chaos Emerald.
Wow, that was good. Excuse me, I burped it. Okay, never mind.
Find 3 more boss keys, and we unlock the next boss of the game, and unsurprisingly, my favorite boss fight in the game.
Oh, the dragon. Okay.
From Sonic Adventure.
What's that?
Unsurprisingly, my favorite boss fight in the game, Perfect Chaos from Sonic Adventure.
Okay. I thought that one's the dragon from the night thing. With the Shrek movie. Continue on, anyway.
With a new remix of Open Your Heart. I love this remix to death.
If you watch this remix, I think you're gonna love it as well. Continue on.
Fun fact, the epic guitar solo from the version of the song also happens to be my ringtone. Also, Sonic is much stronger now than he was back in 1998 because he doesn't need the Chaos Emeralds to beat Perfect Chaos in this 2011 game. You can simply boost into Perfect Chaos or even perform the homing attack to hit its weak point. Oh, and this version has more platforming than before.
Funny enough, the reason why this is my favorite main boss in the game is because it also feels more like a regular level. I just really enjoy boosting through this wrecked version of Station Square.
After 4 hits on the weak spot, Perfect Chaos is once again defeated.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Back in the
A+. Okay, continue on.
Colorless void, Sonic runs into his classic self as well as both Tails.
You're doing great, Sonic. You mean you're doing great, Sonics?
Yeah, duh.
I may never get used to that.
But the Dark Entity returns only to be stopped by a colorless Chaos Emerald.
It's here where Tails reminds us that the Chaos Emeralds are actually part of the plot.
We need that emerald!
And at long last, we come across the modern era.
And first up, we have Crisis City from a game that's about to turn 20 next year.
Yeah.
Wait. What's that?
And first up, we have Crisis City from a game that's about to turn 20 next year.
I wonder what game that was.
And you probably know by now what game I'll be reviewing next year. And this is why...
Okay, continue on.
Sonic 06 is officially canon to the franchise, right?
Yeah, sort of. Anyway, Act 1 of Crisis City is definitely one of the more difficult levels in the game, but I personally find the obstacles more annoying than they are challenging. Also, something funny happens near the end of the stage.
That tornado is carrying a goalpost!
Act 2 of Crisis City is also pretty challenging, but I actually enjoy it more purely because I like modern Sonic more than classic Sonic. I apologize if I don't have much to say about classic Sonic's levels, but whenever I revisit Sonic Generations, I tend to replay modern Sonic's levels pretty often, but I rarely revisit classic Sonic's levels unless I'm doing a full new playthrough.
And as a result of clearing both acts, we then saved Blaze the Cat. In the original version,
meow! Do you want?
For Laura Bailey. And yes, I also got to meet her at a con years ago.
Wow, that was good. 10, okay.
As much as I dislike relying on others, I'm grateful for your aid. The creature was beyond my skills.
Okay.
While in the remastered version, she's instead voiced by Erica Lindbeck, a voice that seems to follow me in so many other games that I happen to be a fan.
Wow, that's good. Oh, Final Fantasy, you watch this remix? For you, anyway.
I even met her in person last year.
Oh, wow, I was jealous. Continue on.
She said to me before, I can't escape her.
11, okay.
Much as I dislike relying on others, I'm grateful for your aid. The creature was beyond my skills.
Anyway, we move on to personally my favorite level in the game, Rooftop Run from Sonic Unleashed. Well, Act 1 has rolling barrels, lasers, and stopping an egg blend via clock. Why is it still in the air? Act 2 is pretty much an enhanced version of the original level with new level layouts.
My favorite change to this version of the level would definitely have to be the grind rail down the clock tower. In the original level, it pretty much curved downward around the clock tower, while in the Generations version, it's a spiraling corkscrew that goes straight down the clock tower.
After completing both acts, we then rescue the god of the computer room, Vector the Crocodile, voiced by Keith Silverstein. Yeah, another voice actor I got to meet.
Wow, that was good.
Same here.
Oh, wait, Moacon? Okay, let's continue on.
Sonic? You know, I got a hunch someone or something is controlling that monster.
Roger that.
Ha! Roger mentioned himself.
Wow.
Now we come across what is personally my least favorite level in the game, Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors. Ironically, this was my favorite level in Sonic Colors, or at least Act 1 of Planet Wisp in Sonic Colors. Act 1 of Planet Wisp in Sonic Generations might as well be an actual level from Sonic Colors because it's another strictly 2D stage, only this time we're Classic Sonic. There's also only one Wisp for both acts, Act 1 featuring the Spike Wisp, with Act 2 featuring the Rocket Wisp. And just like Crisis City, I definitely prefer Act 2 over Act 1.
After beating both acts, both Sonics find the emerald by the stage entrance as they manage to retrieve it. So even though we got most of the emeralds from rivals and boss fights, this one emerald is practically handed to you by this very cutscene.
Okay.
I also really like this cutscene, purely for Classic Sonic's reaction to his modern self doing something really awesome.
Okay. Wow, that makes more sense.
Pretty slick move, huh?
Yeah, that was good.
And at long last, the last of Sonic's allies is finally rescued. This time being Charmy B, voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy. And yes, long before she voiced Tails.
Oh, wait, hold on. What is that?
Charmy B, voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy.
Okay, makes sense. Let's continue on.
Yes, long before she voiced Tails, she was the voice of Charmy.
I'm scared because somebody took me, but now I'm free! I'm a free bee! Free bee! Free bee! Whee!
Wow.
Okay, modern Sonic's reaction to Charmy in this scene was basically how a lot of non-Sonic fans reacted to Charmy. But this is thankfully changed in the remaster, in which Sonic is happy to see him regardless of his antics.
Alright, just simmer down, buddy.
Yeah.
And you know what time it is? Beat those challenges!
Well, 3 of them anyway.
For Crisis City, I decided to tackle the Blaze challenge with modern Sonic. By summoning Blaze, you can have her remove a fire barrier that's blocking your path in order to make your way to the goal ring. This is a mission that I actually enjoy. Not only can Blaze remove fire barriers, but you can also attack fire-type enemies as well. But keep in mind that you may need some of these enemies to use the homing attack on in order to progress.
I also enjoy this mission, but that's only because it's the closest I have to playing as Blaze in this game. Well, without mods for the PC version anyway.
For Rooftop Run, well, even though I did complete the Charmy mission with Classic Sonic, in which you had to make your way to the goalpost while avoiding obstacles set up by Charmy, there's no denying that the Vector mission for modern Sonic is by far the most memorable, for the wrong reasons. You went back to play a scripted game of tennis but with musical notes, and with the homing attack. There have been times in which I swear I was doing the homing attack on the notes, only to completely miss it, resulting in me failing the mission.
Yeah, I don't like this challenge mission. Depending on your distance, the homing attack can completely lose the lock-on target, causing you to miss and thus failing the mission. Plus, you need to do it fast if you want the S rank. So yeah, worst challenge mission in the game by far.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, there's the Elemental Shield mission as Classic Sonic for Planet Wisp. Oh yeah, did I mention? The Elemental Shields for Sonic 3 and Knuckles are back! And I'm so
happy.
These shields perform the same as the original game. And they have the exact same abilities from said game as well. But yeah, just make your way to the goal ring while using said shields in any way possible.
The Thunder Shield is definitely still my favorite, purely for the double jump and ring drawing ability alone. Anyway, we now come across the final rival battle of the game, Pothead the Porcupine, Silver the Hedgehog.
Okay.
The original Sonic Generations is voiced by Quentin Flynn, aka Raiden from Metal Gear Solid, aka...
Wait, what did he say? Oh my... He voiced Timon in Timon Pumbaa series. And of course, he voiced Spy Teacher's Pet. My childhood favorite show. Continue on.
Axel from Kingdom Hearts.
Time to add another one to the counter.
Wow, that was great memories, okay.
Whereas in the remastered version, he's voiced by Bryce Papenbrook. And yes...
Wait, hold on. What is that? Bryce Papenbrook? Oh yeah, hold on. Wow, that was good.
So why are we fighting Silver in the first place? Well, because he questions whether he's the real Sonic or some sort of faker.
Oh man, not this again.
So Silver mostly wants to fight Sonic just to see if he's the real deal. Also, the fight technically takes place in Soliana, like in Sonic 06, except this time it's in Silver's bad future of Soliana, in which it was consumed by Iblis. Anyway, this fight is awesome. It's pretty much what the fight should have been in the original Sonic 06.
Because in the original Sonic 06...
It's no use! It's no use! It's no use! It's no use!
So after getting another Chaos Emerald and the last 3 boss keys, we then come across the next boss of the game, the Ed Dragoon from Sonic Unleashed. Unlike the original version, you fight the Ed Dragoon in Sonic's normal form instead of the Werehog.
Wow. Oh yeah, I remember being fully covered in fur.
This fight is alright.
Yeah, like Elmo style. Continue on.
But a bit jank. Mainly the 3D sections where I swear it feels like you're on rails, and I'm not talking about these rails.
I remember being fully covered in fur.
This fight is alright, but a bit jank. Mainly the 3D sections where I swear it feels like you're on rails, and I'm not talking about these rails. Also, Eggman now has yet another memorable quotes that he repeats very often.
Time for a change of pace! 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 You know what they say, the more the merrier.
How long is this gonna go on?
It's different, yes, but there are multiple ways to inflict damage to Eggman. In the 3D sections, you have to boost toward Eggman and use the homing attack at the right time. However, in the 2D sections, Sonic has to wall jump to higher ground and then perform the homing attack on Eggman. Also in the skydiving section, Sonic does actually skydive while the Werehog in the original game just falls. But even then, you can still perform the homing attack to damage Eggman some more.
Honestly, my main problem with this fight is that it goes on a little too long. Mostly because I swear it feels random with how many ice projectiles he decides to shoot during this section here.
Yeah.
It really drags the fight down longer than it needs to.
I see what you're going. That's all it is. Man. If I see another difficulty in my end, let's see here. Okay, that's good. Let's continue on.
Hits. Sonic once again defeats Ed Dragoon as Eggman once again gets annoyed for losing again.
I can't believe this. I was supposed to beat you this time.
I'm sorry. I didn't get that memo. I beat you every time.
Yeah, duh.
Seriously, we beat this guy every time. It's like it's our job or something.
And to show you what I mean, here's my daily to-do list. Number 1, grab Chili Dog. Number 2, hang out with my good buddy Tails. And number 3, beat up Eggman and or his robot minions.
Thank you! Continue on.
Suddenly, the dark entity abducts Martin Eggman before Sonic and Tails figure out what to do next. And this brings us to the last part of the hub area, where we find broken giant gears that can only be repaired with the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Once all the Chaos Emeralds are in place and therefore repairing all the gears, it then opens a giant portal, which leads to the final boss of the game.
Okay, whatever you are, if you want to avoid an embarrassing beatdown, you better give up now.
You're not in a position to demand anything, you nasty little pincushion.
Eggman! But how?
He had a little help.
Dr. Robotnik!
Nobody calls me that anymore.
Okay, that made me laugh. Anyway,
Yeah, that it makes sense.
it's here where Eggman explains that he found a dark primordial essence right after the events of Sonic Colors. He then got the idea to use it to rewrite history and take control of time.
Not to mention, he leaves Orbot and Cubot floating in space. Oh, so that's why they're not in this game.
And with this new power, he also recruits his classic self to help with his plan.
The more your monster tears through time, the more damage you do to the world.
The world? I'm going to own the world when I'm finished with Sonic.
Jolly Boy Santa Claus. I know. You okay?
Wow, will I really get that crazy?
Also, that laughing voice clip is completely reused in the remaster. Actually, a lot of old voice clips get reused in the remaster. Remember what Lucas mentioned earlier about the voice actors re-recording their voice clips for the remastered cutscenes? Well, that unfortunately doesn't apply to gameplay unless the character has a different voice from the original release. For example, Cindy Robinson uses her more modern Amy voice for the cutscenes.
You saved me, Sonic. I'll be sure to return the favor next time around.
But for the challenge missions, they didn't bother to ask her to re-record her voice clips, so they recycled the old ones even in the remaster.
I'll help you jump higher with my Pico Pico hammer.
Anyway, the two Sonics try their best to fight against the two Eggmans, but they are quickly overwhelmed by Eggman's new machine. But right when things seem dire...
Come on, Sonic! Smack him!
Not you!
You got this, Sonic.
Okay, I was intentionally saving my thoughts for this moment, so let me talk about it. In Sonic Generations, Shadow the Hedgehog is voiced by Kirk Thornton, and the first time I heard...
What was that? Kirk Thornton. Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and see who he is. Because I was checking on the reaction videos. Let me see. Kirk. I spelled it wrong. Oh, wow. Wow. He was in former appearance as a contestant on a game show called Classic Concentration with the late Alex Trebek. Wow. But he was, oh my god, he was in Digimon Frontier? Okay, makes sense anyway. But it was one of my childhoods growing up with Digimon. Okay, makes sense. It should have been part of the whole Fairy Gamer episodes with Digimon. That would be a great idea. Instead of stupid Pokemon. Pfft, why? Anyway, let's talk about that. He was in films like Digimon the Movie, that's a good idea. He's also in What the Bleep Do We Know, in Voice Over Town in 2004, and so much more. Okay, let's see. Swan Princess. Oh, yeah, Bob should review that, by the way. Royal Fairy Tale, yeah. Swan Princess Royalty Undercover. Bob should review that. If Rob's watching this, I have no idea what to say next. And The Jungle Bunch in 2017 English dub. Okay, makes sense. Wait, have we never had the two? Okay. Whatever. There's a lot of voice acting what he has done. Wait, Rugrats? Okay, Rugrats Studio Tour in 1999. Oh, he done a lot of video game work in his career. No, because I already said earlier about Digimon, but he's also did some Shadow the Hedgehog, but okay, whatever. But he also did some anime, which I grew up with. Digimon, okay. Sonic Boom, if you watch the remake, Sonic Boom for you. And, Digimon Fusion. Oh, Stitch, oh wow, okay, it's an anime show, okay. As Hansonville? Okay. Well, okay, Jeff Bennett was Hansonville in the Wheel and Stitch series at the time from 2003 2006, but Kirk Thornton's Hansonville? Kind of jealous. Okay. Okay, let's continue on before I get silver.
In particular, I hated it. Mostly because of how hard he pronounced the G in the word got. I was like, why does Shadow sound like that? He sounds...
Wow.
Like Shadow. Give me back Jason Griffith. He would do... Why does Shadow sound like that? He sounds nothing like Shadow. Give me back Jason Griffith. I was like, why does Shadow sound like that? He sounds nothing... Pronounced the G in the word got. I hated it. Mostly because of how hard he pronounced the G in the word got.
Oh, okay. Continue on.
I was like, why does Shadow sound like that? He sounds nothing like Shadow. Give me back Jason Griffith. He would do that line so much better.
Yeah, okay.
You got this, Sonic.
Oh. Okay. That's not exactly how I was hoping it would sound. Huh. Okay, let me talk about this. It turns out that when it comes to voice acting, it's not just the actor's voice. The reason why actors voice a character a certain way is mostly because of voice direction. In fact, Kirk Thornton was the first person to inform me of this sort of thing. His Shadow voice was the result of multiple people giving him the direction they wanted. In fact, one of those people was a representative from the Japanese side of things. It's what they wanted, so that's what we got. It's not necessarily what I wanted, but at least I now have a better understanding of voice acting. Because of that, Kirk Thornton is someone I have a huge amount of respect for. It also helps that his Shadow voice, in my opinion, got way better voice direction over the past few years.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there.
How he sounded in 2011.
You got this, Sonic.
And this is how he sounded in 2024.
I'll take this power and use it as my own.
Now that sounds more like the Shadow I know and love.
Yeah. Let me go back to what he sounded like in 2024 as he mentioned before. I mean, seriously, okay? I've never seen the game before about Sonic, the 2024 games. The modern Sonic the Hedgehog games in the 2020s before. Let me just see what the Sonic the Hedgehog nowadays look like. Click on Sonic the Hedgehog and see what it is. Video games, okay? Okay, I'm looking at games, not Super Smash Bros. I'm looking at games, okay? Not live action films, because I saw these in theaters, especially the ones I saw in... Okay, no, I'm looking at video games. There we go. Look at notes real quick, looking at Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay, there we go. Shadow the Hedgehog. Where is it? Superstars, there we go. Wait, that's in 2023. I'm looking at Shadow the Hedgehog. There we go. Got it. No, that first appearance of Sonic Adventure 2. Okay, makes sense. No, I'm looking at the another game that he's in. Okay. Video games, there we go. Looking at another game he was in. What? I never seen any games again? Characterography, that's good. I'm gonna look at Sonic Wiki, this is ridiculous. Sonic Wiki. There we go. Sonic Wiki Zone. There we go, game titles. This is a... I'm looking at other games. That was in, okay, makes sense. I'm looking at Sonic. I'm looking for Shadow, not Sonic, okay? Shadow. There we go. Shadow, not the game. Hello? Where is he? The games. 2024, okay. So, here we go. More appearance, thank you. I know. He dislikeful, I know that. Where's... Thank you. Appearances. 2024, let me see. Game appearance, there we go. Okay, Sonic Brothers Adventures, that's it, okay. But this is only for, the App Store, only from 2017, okay. Go back. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking for another app. Thank you. Oh, no. I'm in the wrong year. Hang on. Oh, that's it. Okay, Sonic Blitz. What? You got... Oh, it's a 2025 game. Okay, for Apple Arcade. For iOS and Android. No, go back. Go back. I'm looking for, There we go. Sonic Racing Crosswords. Wait, seriously? I'm looking for another game. He says 2024. I'm looking for another game. There was in. Oh, Sonic Dream Team. Wait, it's also for iOS and Android. Oh, Mac OS as well? Okay, go back. Yeah, Apple Arcade. Continue on. Sonic Rumble. If it doesn't happen for... What? No. He says 2024. Okay. Oh, man. If we don't know the next 2 minutes, then we're gonna continue on. I don't know. Other media. No. New games. No. History of Parents. There we go. No, come on. Really? Look for video games, not Sonic Prime, anyway. PUBG, no. Games. Golly, thank you. 2020's game artwork. What? Come on. Sonic Dash. Oh, there we go. Sonic X Child Generations. No. This is the wrong year. We're at the wrong year. What year is this? Came out 2024 on PC. This is a 2024 game. I'm looking for another game. Yeah, I give up. Let's continue. Oh, is it? Wait, June 2025? Yeah, I'm gonna get that game. Okay, let's continue on. I'm sorry, taking so long. I'm not gonna laugh right now. Anyway, now 11 minutes. What? Okay, I'll be right back, folks. I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. I just had to look at the gigabytes quickly and look it up. Let's just resume this episode.
Also, Kirk Thornton is just a really nice guy, very pleasant to be around, and I'm so glad I got to meet him last year.
Wow. So jealous.
Both of us.
Okay. Makes sense.
With encouragement from Tails and the rest of Sonic's allies, the Sonics feel more motivated to defeat this creature the only way they know how.
Time to scramble some Eggman, Super Sonic style!
Okay.
Oh, and the music playing in the background, it's pretty...
Oh, wow. That was nice. Okay. Because I remember this is Sonic Hedgehog 3 in Fears. Continue on.
The title screen music from Sonic 4 Episode 1. And this leads us to the final boss of the game, the Time Eater. Okay. A lot of people say this is the worst final boss in Sonic history, but for me personally, it's more of a toss-up between this and Perfect Dark Gaia from the HD version of Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, this final boss sucks. Mostly because it's very tedious simply trying to catch up to it to ram it to the core, and it's always annoying when you almost catch up, only for it to suddenly dash away from you like the coward it is.
Just stay still and let me attack you, you bundle of bolts!
Yeah, attack them!
So don't even bother making a tally on how many times Sonic's friends warn him about a homing shot.
Funny enough, most of Sonic's friends say that it looks like a homing shot. Meanwhile, Shadow and Espio immediately know it's a homing shot.
And because this is another Supersonic boss fight, the ring counter will constantly drain. You also gain more rings, whether as modern or classic Supersonic throughout the battle. But if your ring counter runs empty, then you have to start the boss fight all over again. And be warned that at random intervals, the Time Eater can slow down time.
Ironically, slowing down time doesn't really make the fight much harder. If anything, it makes it easier by giving you more time to react to oncoming attacks. Also, you can switch between 2D and 3D and take control of the other Supersonic, but I swear it's next to impossible to catch up to the Time Eater in 2D. Not to mention that his attacks are way more difficult to dodge in 2D since you don't have as much room to breathe. Also, I swear the fight is even more glitchy during the 2D sections.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Said, I personally never switch to 2D other than to collect more rings when I'm low on them.
But after a long and tedious process, the fight ends with both Supersonics combining their powers to finally defeat the Time Eater once and for all. Back in the present, Sonic grabs his birthday chili dog, still warm and delicious, and all of his friends reappear.
I'll admit, you weren't half bad, Sonic.
Not bad? Are you kidding? He was all great!
Poor Knuckles. Thankfully, he's only gently pushed back in the remaster.
Half bad? Are you kidding? He was all great!
It was great teaming up with you. Hope you learned a few tricks that'll help you out in the future. I mean, the past. You know what I mean.
Wow. Rise is right, some thirds, everyone! See you on.
That scene always did make me laugh. Anyway, classic Sonic and Tails spot the portal back to their own time and begin to head back home. But not before Sonic's modern self gives him some encouraging words.
Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
Wow. Don't move. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, jeez. Wow. That was... Oh, wow.
Looks like Sonic's future may have some ups and downs. Not that anyone acknowledges the ups. What do they know? I'm sure he'll be fine.
And then the credits roll. Okay, hold it right there. Kate Higgins and Troy Baker aren't even in the remastered version, and yet they're still in the credits. This also includes Travis William and Quentin Flynn under a different alias, and worse
that was a flaw.
Laura Bailey is the only one that's left uncredited.
Yeah, I was missing.
That's annoying. The new voice actors would still be in the credits, including Erica Lindbeck, but for a completely different game part of the same remastered package. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, right here on Tube Disney. Next, do you want?
Back in the White Void.
Are you sure you saw a door over here? What? You were the one who said you saw a door over here! Well, I know it was one of us. Shut up and keep looking.
It's very in character for Eggman to be arguing with himself.
At long last, we're finally done with the main story. However, we're still not done with the game itself. On the skill shop.
Wow. The skill shop allows both Sonics to equip many different skills that can be unlocked by playing some challenge missions. Examples include a larger boost meter, a faster top speed, or even the elemental shields from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. However, when you finish the game, you then unlock Super Sonic as a skill that can also be equipped.
Once equipped, you can then collect 50 rings and transform into Super Sonic. However, there's a couple of catches that personally bother me about it. For starters, Super Sonic can't be used during boss fights aside from the Time Meter, nor can he be used during challenge missions. He can only be used in regular stages. Actually, none of the skills can be used during boss fights or challenge missions. You're always stuck to Sonic's default settings for those bits. And secondly, and most annoyingly, Super Sonic drains what feels like 2 rings per second rather than 1 ring per second. It's not too bad when playing as classic Super Sonic, but modern Super Sonic has an ability that allows him to fly through the stage. The problem is that using that ability drains what feels like 10 rings per second. And what makes it worse is that Sonic Team didn't bother to fix that issue in the remaster, not even via a patch. So unfortunately, the only way the ring rate can be fixed as of now is by playing the PC version with mods.
Huh. Well, that was disappointing. Since when do the Chaos Emeralds take so many rings at once?
You know, Sonic? I don't know. I always wonder the same thing.
So what did you think of Sonic Generations?
Well, it has been 7 years since my first playthrough, but after getting to fully play this game now, I still think it's a good game overall.
Okay.
I personally believe that Sonic Generations still stands as one of my top 10 favorite Sonic games on my list, and it still
makes sense.
Holds up even today. Graphically, it looks amazing. For a longtime Sonic fan, I like to think of it as a nostalgic road trip. Taking some of Sonic's well-known stages from each era and having them enhanced on next-gen consoles is definitely a sight to behold. Even some of the boss stages look incredible.
You should have remastered the top 10 Sonic games of all time on your YouTube channel, like Very Odd Gamer. You know, it can make sense. Continue on.
Fairly Perfect Chaos and the Shadow Rival Battle. Gameplay-wise, it's fantastic. Having both classic Sonic's platforming levels and modern Sonic speed-based levels definitely works well in my personal opinion. And yeah, I did encounter a few problems here and there, but I still don't think it ruins my overall experience. And in the case of the remastered version, I love playing as Adventure Sonic despite it being a pre-order bonus. Not much to say about the Sonic Jam skin though. And what can I say about the game's soundtrack? Holy chili dog, I love this game's soundtrack. Some of my personal favorites include the Perfect Chaos theme, Open Your Heart, both remixes of Chemical Plant, and even the modern remixes of City Escape and Rooftop Run. As for the dialogue, well, if you were to ask me, I much prefer the original dialogue over the redub dialogue. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate the redub version, but it just sounds a bit off-putting.
Yeah.
Overall, Sonic Generations is definitely a game I recommend to any Sonic fan. Whether you're a fan of the Genesis era, the Dreamland era, or even the modern era, it always feels good to have a Sonic adventure in your life. Give it a try when you get a chance.
Like I said before, Sonic Generations was initially my favorite Sonic game of all time, mostly because it had my favorite playable rendition of modern Sonic. I loved boosting as him, drifting as him, doing tricks as him. This was the Sonic I loved controlling the most. Though looking back at the game as a whole, I don't think I enjoy it quite as much as I did on my first playthrough. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great game, but the reason why I don't do as many full playthroughs of this game as other Sonic games is mostly because of Classic Sonic. Classic Sonic does play well enough, but I will say that he's definitely harder to go back to since we now have games like Sonic Mania or even Sonic Superstars in which he controls much closer to how he does in the Genesis games. The more I think about it, the more I feel like I enjoy this game about as much as Sonic Unleashed, but for different reasons. Another problem I have is Sonic being the only playable character. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't like that because it limits the game's replayability. I've already ran through Speed Highway as Sonic several times already, so I really wish I could do it as Shadow instead. And it is possible with mods for the PC version, but good luck trying to afford a PC that's compatible. But despite my personal complaints, this is still a Sonic game I absolutely recommend playing at least once if you like Sonic in any way, shape, or form.
At least you try anyway.
Is one big love letter to Sonic's history as a whole. And graphically speaking, while I don't think Sonic Generations looks quite as good as Sonic Unleashed, it's still a great looking game. I especially love how the levels from past games are beautifully recreated with high-definition graphics. And do I even need to mention the music? So many great remixes of past songs, in addition to past songs returning in their original form. I can't really pick a favorite, so all I can say is give it a listen when you have the chance. Overall, Sonic Generations is an awesome game that you absolutely should play if you're a Sonic fan. Nearly 14 years later, and it's still a blast to play at Sonic speed.
Well, that was certainly an interesting game. Thanks again, Sonic, for helping out.
Hey, no worries, gamer.
And thank you, Seth, for joining me for this review as well.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm not going anywhere just yet.
Wait, what are you talking about?
There's another Sonic game that just released last year alongside the remaster of Sonic
Oh, wow.
Generations.
You don't mean...
Shadow Generations.
Oh! I talked about this in my reaction video! Continue on.
Oh, I'll be back later, guys.
Well, this just got even more interesting. And some of you probably knew this was going to happen. So, in the meantime, I'm the Fairly Odd Gamer, and I wish you all good luck the rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, wow.
Hey, it's Sonic again. Be sure to support the Fairly Odd Gamer whether on Patreon or YouTube memberships like Luke Jeffers, Johnny Gallagher, Scarlet the Hedgehog, Big Money 2112, and Jake Deffenbaugh.
If you watch this, Sonic, thank you for supporting me, in the times like this, anyway. Wow. So that was, Fairly Odd Gamer episode 90, Sonic Generations with Zero Night. Wow. What am I gonna say about this episode? It was amazing. So far, this video was a success. Anyways, that was LJPCBM episode 1012. I'm hoping to say this is gonna get ready for the next episode with this, but overall, get ready, because stay tuned. The next is going to be LJPCBM episode 1013, which is going to be about the Matthew Davis' Mia's latest video on the boxing for the Nintendo Switch 2. You're going to keep your eyes on that. Till next time, suggest by baby, we will LJPCBM because we soon say out. See ya. I'm about to let it credits roll before we get started, okay? Yeah. Wow.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I fail to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question and the giver holds the key. But the
It was good match though, pair. Definitely good match. Good game, Dane. Good game. Definitely good game. Good game. Great game. Good game.
Oh my god, I quit!
Dude, come back. You want to play a 3-player match? Yeah, dude.
No, I don't want to play a 3-player match!
Dude.
Stop it!
Dude.
Stop it!